Hello everyone who is probably sitting there watching us struggle through our technical difficulties getting this presentation up on the screen, but it's here. We are ready. It is 11:01, so we're not too late. I'm Amy. I'm a track lead here, managing the Scale tracks. You'll probably see me if you're joining any of the other Scale talks here at Summit Europe. I'm a marketing manager at Atlassian. I am joined today by Kjell and Tiril from the Norwegian government services. They are here to talk about a journey from bureaucracy to enterprise agility in government. Tiril is actually started her job as a police officer and is now here, which is really cool. And Kjell actually grew up north of the Arctic Circle, so seeing the Aurora Borealis was actually one of his daily treats. So please welcome them up to the stage. We'll leave Q&A to the end if we have time, so keep your questions to the end and I'll run around with the mic then, but welcome them up to the stage.
Thank you. Today we are going to tell you a story about a national welfare agency that in a country far up north, Norway, back in 2016 set out to build the world's greatest welfare services. That meant a journey from being a highly bureaucratic organization towards becoming an agile one, delivering continuous value for the users. To tell this story, I have with me Kjell, as Amy said. He's the team lead for our Atlassian, or the services that we use with the Atlassian tools in our organization. And my name is Tiril, and I'm the director for the enterprise services. So I'll take you through this journey on an organizational level, and Kjell will come in and connect this to how we work with the teams and how we support them with our tools, and go into depth there. So that's it. Let's kick it off. Of course, there is a last introduction that is needed, and then that is the one of our organization. So NAV stands for the Norwegian Labour and Welfare Administration, and we serve the whole population of Norway, and it's about 5.2 million people, as well as the employers of the country. There is no other welfare agencies that has gathered so much services as Norway has. In Sweden, for instance, you have to visit at least 10 different government offices to get the same service range as we have in Norway. To do this, NAV, our responsibilities is the implementation of Norway's policies when it comes to pension, social security, and to the labor market. And to do that, there is about 19,000 employees spread across the whole country of Norway in different local offices. Also, we have a central directorate where there works 1,200 people, and the IT department is a part of this, and we are 800 people working there. And we deliver both end-user services as well as enterprise services. Okay, so let's talk about our journey that started in 2016 when our CIO arrived. At that time, we have three main challenges that we had to solve. In many of our processes, we didn't add value to the users. We actually put additional strain to those we were set out to help. When Anna here, for instance, came out of the doctor's office, she got not only her arm in a caster, but she got a paper report consisting of 3 papers that she had to manually fill in, then deliver physically to her employer, which she then again had to fill out another paper and send it by mail to the NAV office. And we're not talking email, we're talking postmail or snail mail. So with about 4 million sick leaves a year in Norway, this was a time-consuming process, both for the users, for the employers, and of course also it was expensive for the welfare states. And people expected to interact digitally with the government as well as they do with banks and other stuff. So we didn't at all meet our expectations for the users. As a result of globalization, technological development, and changed oil prices, we expected there will be changes in our working life. Further on, massive demographic changes combined with a forecast that 1 out of 3 jobs will be automated makes us believe that there will be more NAV users in the future. We need to help them stay in the jobs and also get them into the labor market. The last challenge we stood upon were the one of our own IT operation. We were a company dependent on consultants to drive development, and we ourselves were expert on procurement management. We had an order-supplier relationship both with the business side and also with IT and IT consultant side. So that meant that changes took a long time to implement, and it also meant a lot of expensive overhead. We had no in-house developers ourselves. On top of this, we were an organization that was strictly hierarchical and bureaucratic, and that meant many and big projects. And the processes also were based on mistrust and control. So altogether, we had a regime for just 4 main deliveries a year, just 2 years back. So it goes without saying, we weren't able to deliver fast, and we weren't able to be innovative at this point. So these challenges, the lack of user value, our changing times, and also our own IT operation, meant that we had to find ways to deliver cost-effective user value. And we had to become agile at scale, we have to become business-aligned, and we have to become a much more fast delivery organization. And ultimately, we had to deliver more for less, and we have to deliver better, faster, and cheaper. Luckily, our superhero CIO had just arrived at the company, and he set the standard for the rest of us and what it was all about. And with this backdrop, we set ourselves some goals, and basically it's all about how we can capture events in a human life and use those to meet the users where they are with customized solutions and relevant suggestions based on everything we know. For instance, you shouldn't have to apply for a benefit if we already have the data and we know that you are entitled to it. You should just have the benefit and the money in your account. So how do we move forward to get to this goal and solve the challenges we stood ahead? We wanted to move away from this, a strictly hierarchical, bureaucratic organization, and literally overnight we moved into a more flat organization where teams were the main ingredient. And we started out with 27 teams, and we did this to enable agile development and continuously delivery. Then we looked at how we work, our processes. Moving into cross-functional teams was a culture change, a huge culture change for us. From being rigid and process-orientated, suddenly we were supposed to be agile, you can make your own decisions, and autonomous teams. So, and also, since we moved in overnight, we weren't preparing the organization. We hadn't set structure or frameworks. We just did it. We just took a leap. Agile was on everybody's lips, but not everybody knew. Yeah, just a few knew what it really meant. So it led to a lot of confusion, but also a steep learning curve for the organization. But almost every team moved into the old structure with a procurement operation, so we weren't able to deliver faster just by that means. So we had to do more to deliver faster and better. So a key factor for doing this was to strengthen our own competence in strategic core environment. So we built a specialist environment to build up our own development and to take over responsibility from the consultants companies and to our own. So we have hired about 200 developers, designers, data managers, data scientists, and we attract supreme employees who really want to make a value contribution. But those hungry developers will not stay with us if they have to work on old architecture, and that was the next thing we had to do to deliver faster. We had to look at how we did that. We had a complex architecture, and still have, but we are moving away from a complex architecture with a lot of dependency, mainframe solutions, and so on. And now we are moving on to self-deployed applications that are Java-based, and they all use our container platform, which is called NAV's container platform. So microservices are responsible for functionality and data within their area, and events and data then becomes available for other teams and other services and analysis through our data stream, which here is the Kafka data stream. And these data streams is a part of creating loose couplings between teams. And this application architecture is a huge enabler for our road further on. With a container platform, we are able to move out in a cloud at scale, And we are having as a goal that in 3 to 4 years we won't have any data center of our own anymore. So we're moving everything out. So that's a challenge also regarding the tools we are here about. And the data streams is a key element for the next maturity level on how we work in our organization, a new organization model, which is business domains. So what we've done with people, processes, architecture now makes it possible for us to work in business domain based on life events for the user. In short, teams within the domains can work decoupled from other business domains and then gain speed, development speed, and they don't have to have an expensive project overhead. And each of these domains are led by the business side. It's business that runs these. So IT is just another part that delivers competence into these cross-functional teams. And they have one goal, each of these, is to deliver value within their area. And these are in the making as we speak. So we're starting with health as a first business domain, and then we will grow into the others. But if we are to succeed in this model, we have to continue to support our teams. And Michel Tore here will take you through how we do this and how we use the tools to undermine that. Not undermine, to support that.
So, to become better, faster, and cheaper, it's all about the teams. And at NAV, we are working hard every day to support the teams in every way possible so that we can reach our outcomes. And coincidentally, the mission of Atlassian rhymes very well with that ambition. Today we have Jira Software Data Center for 3,000 users. We have Confluence Data Center for 4,000 users. We have Jira Service Desk for 20,000 users. We have Trello Enterprise, and we have Slack. In 2006, Jira and Confluence were introduced to the company by some vendors. So it was like a bottom-up movement. And in 2012, we ran a project to introduce those products at an enterprise level to support development end-to-end. Being a bureaucratic organization, we ended up with one large Jira project where everything went through. Please do not do this at home. And everybody had to work exactly the same way, but we called it agile. So this was our introduction to working in an agile way. Well, it worked. We had 4 major releases, and we have large projects for 5 years. Probably we can have done that cheaper and faster and better, but we managed. So in 2016, when our new CIO was hired, he saw that maybe we could do some changes to this. So when we reorganized in January 2017 to focus on teams, we moved to that one monolithic Jira project to where every team could decide how they would set up their Jira projects completely. So from everything being centrally governed to where the teams could decide themselves. And for those listening to the keynote today, that's also where Atlassian is going, where everybody can create their own Jira projects. But where we are today, where teams are not truly autonomous because they are doing their own work, but they're also doing work for other projects and other teams, then you can imagine that if you do that, you will have to know the workflows of the other teams, the meaning of their statuses and their fields and so forth. And it's also a bit tricky to make reports when it's like that. So you can see that we have ran 2 large experiments on how to use Jira, which we have learned quite a lot from. But now, we will experiment, learn, and adapt faster to align with the business outcomes of better, faster, cheaper, and also align to the business and IT strategy. So we do not have all the answers going forward, but we are open to learn and open to experiment. So what I will tell you now is about some of the things we have done and some of the things we are thinking about doing. I serve the Atlassian services team at NAV. We are 8 people. We are doing IT operations, configurations, and we're providing advice to all the teams that need that. But how can we, as a team, become better, faster, cheaper? How can we deliver better services? How can we do it cheaper? And how can we do it faster? And also be more aligned. One way that we have discussed is for the team members of our team to rotate and actually sit physically together with the teams that needs our services. Then we'll be closer to the ground, we'll understand their needs much better, and we can share experiments better than we do today. But we have also discussed creating something called a service circle inspired by Sociocracy 3.0, where representatives from the teams will be part of that service circle. By doing that, you will have actual users serving other actual users. So those would then complement our team. And over time, this could be our new model. And also, in 2012, Jira and Confluence were centrally governed, and now it's not so much of governance in place. So what we also are thinking about, we need some type of, or some level of governance. So we're also thinking about establishing a governance circle, which will have representatives from the different stakeholders, and then decisions related to these products will then be delegated to that governance circle, and the decisions will be fed back to the teams. This way, the stakeholders and the actual users will then decide which tools to use and how to use them. And this will also provide more engagement and also more alignment. This month and the next month, Jira Service Desk will replace BMC Remedy for 20,000 users. 6,000 issues will be created every week when this is done. And we have done this to simplify the ITIL processes, being much more flexible to change and do that much faster than before. We will also, as we have heard already, the user friendliness is much higher, and also the flexibility is much, much better. Using metrics is fundamental to see if we are doing things faster. In the book Accelerate by Forsgren, Humble, and Kim, they have discovered 4 metrics for software delivery performance. And those are lead time from code commit to code successfully in production. It is the frequency of deployments, mean time to restore, and the change failure rate. And our ambitions for our teams is for they to become high-performing teams. And that means the lead time is up to 1 hour from code commit to code successfully in production. We can release on demand, meaning several times a day, which we are actually doing for several teams today. Mean time to restore in less than 1 hour, and change failure rate between 0 and 15%. And just to mention, these metrics can be measured in several of the different Atlassian products. Since now we are moving towards business domains with associated teams and the unique feature that they will largely communicate with their applications through data streams and events, that provides us with a unique opportunity to rethink a few things. So, for example, we have a lot of data center products today, but it is a strategy for us to move to the cloud, also for these products. So what we're thinking about is that when the first business domain is established, we could run an experiment with that business domain and those teams being in the cloud. So then we will run a controlled experiment, find out how this will be, and then when new business domains are established, we can move them slowly to the cloud. The thing is, we have 12-year-old instances of Jira and Confluence. There's a lot of history in our server products. You can imagine there are hundreds and hundreds of fields and statuses and schemes and everything. So this is a unique opportunity for us to scale things down and improve and do things better. Also, it's a unique opportunity to rethink how we will connect the teams to the business domain in Jira. Of course, we could have several layers of issue types. We could have issue types on the team level, issue type or issue types on the business domain level, and also issue types on the company level, and have data being rolled up. Our experience from having that huge Jira project is that it could become a too rigid setup. Since we are continually reorganizing, we have to question if this is something we want and ask ourselves, are there better ways? For example, is it possible to decouple and find other ways of still becoming better, faster, cheaper, and being aligned to the business imperatives without having a hierarchy of issue types connected like that? So that's one of the things we will experiment with and talk a lot about, how we can simplify that. The ideal would probably be for the teams to do their own things, and they have their own, they are aligned, they are autonomous, and they have the team that will support them, and they will move in the direction of the company and the business domain. So again, back in 2012, that huge project, we probably focused more on the tools and the processes than the people. Reading the first Agile manifesto value, we value individuals and interactions over processes and tools. So what we are now doing, we have so many competent people working with us that has many years of experience with Agile. So they are all moving us in the right direction and providing us with a new mindset. That's why we are now focusing more on individuals, more on how we can provide support for the teams to be successful, and also having more engaging conversations. For example, now we are rebuilding the building we work in to have teams. So cross-functional teams will sit together, and that by itself will lead to that we will communicate less in the products and we will talk more together and have more engaging conversations. Of course, agile rituals will also contribute to that. And there are a number of other types of engaging conversations that's out there. For example, open space, technology, and Atlassian Team Playbook. There are so many engaging conversations to choose from. We will still have tools. We will always have tools, but we should focus more on the individuals, on the teams, and having more engaging conversations. So I started with saying it's all about the teams. And the teams at NAV, they have done incredible work to get more value for money. They are now doing more actual work, and they are doing less boring stuff, which is something the teams like themselves. For example, we are specifying and documenting in Confluence a lot less than before. There are several teams that they're not estimating any longer. We have less projects, and the ones we have are smaller. We have a much more informal change management procedure. We are automating testing. Of course, there's less handovers because we have cross-functional teams, and also less asking for permission because we have autonomous teams. So it's amazing the contributions from our teams, and all of these are having direct connections to how we use our tools. So now I will hand over the last few slides to Toril.
Thank you. No? There we are. Thank you, Kjell Tore. So the teams are working differently and better, doing more actual work. So how are we doing on the overall side? Well, at this point, when Anna gets out of her doctor's office, she got an SMS telling her that her sick report is ready on nav.no, and all she has to do is go in there and confirm the information, and then it's off, and we're done with the whole process. So, and just 3 months after nationwide introduction, about 90% of the users who are able to use it have taken it into, are starting to using it. So that's been a big success. We have built a highly competent tech environment. We are attracting the best people from 4 main deliveries now to continuously delivery, as Kjell Tore said. 200 new hired employees and developers means 200 less consultants. We have got rid of expensive contracts. We have got rid of the overhead, follow with that. New teams are being created each day. No, sorry, that was almost every week is the point, new teams. And but we are also preparing the organization for moving into this business domain, scaling up to 5 to 15 teams for each business domain. And the business domains, there are business, user and experience and IT moving in together. So it's really cross-functional work that we are doing in that order. In one of our key initiatives, we have been able to save about 200 million Norwegian crowns just by working agile and in cross-functional teams in 1.5 years. So we really see the effect. And all our new initiative uses now data-driven, intelligent technology. We are having an AI lab, we're using machine learning, we're using RPA. So we're to get use of the data we have. And we see that other public organizations as well as other branches are interested in watching what we're doing. So our developers is around the world telling our stories and our thoughts, so we're very proud of that. So we're very proud of what we have achieved in this time. Oh, so here is the stats of that. Is it a sunshine story? Is it the end of a road? Not at all. It has been, and it still is, a major mind shift for the whole organization to take agile, to become agile overall, both from the boardroom to the front line. So it's not an easy journey we are to, and we have along the way both over and underestimated many of our processes. But regardless of this, we continue our journey, and we strongly believe that we are able to reach our ultimate goal, and that is to build a world greatest welfare services. So thank you, and any questions?
I have the mic here if anyone has any questions.
There's one in front here.
Oh, sorry.
Hi, thanks for sharing. It's an amazing story. I would like that this happens in other countries across Europe.
Yeah.
But I was curious to know more about your decision of changing to BMC Remedy to Jira Service Desk. What do you think were the drives to do such a huge transformation?
Well, there are two aspects to this. One is that BMC Remedy was tightly integrated with Jira. And that was a little bit problematic. So then we had the option of either doing a formal bid, which will take some time, or we could go with Jira Service Desk. And then one enlightened being at NAV suggested we could go down that route. And the rest is history.
Hi, I just want to ask you how you scale. Do you scale with a framework, and when, if yes, which one? Or do you use a Scrum of Scrum or whatever organization? So my question is, do you using a Scrum, a scaled framework like SAFe, LESS, or whatever?
No, we don't use a framework.
It's up to every business domain and every team to do that.
Okay.
So we are pragmatic in that sense.
Hello, thank you for sharing. I just have one question regarding the budget and the future roadmap. When we talk about business concentration or business-driven value, we need to give a planning or vision to what we'll deliver in the future. I saw that you put less releases and less budget, but it's still a necessity. So how you manage that in a scaled organization, especially, I don't know if you have strong dependencies between all those teams.
Well, I saw the keynote yesterday, so I would say we haven't solved that yet. But and we live in an organization, we're still in a bureaucratic organization, so we have annual budgeting. So we haven't solved that puzzle. But our thought is that the different departments will give money to the business domains that then have the product responsibility and to make value within their business domains. So they have the people, and then they can work on.
And also, a great tip for scaling agile is to descale. So think about it.
Hi, thank you for sharing this. It's really incredible that you have managed to do this. But my question, who was the management team of how you find the owners of a business domain, and what is the structure of the team that have done this, all of this research, apart from developers?
It has been a journey, so this is something that has matured over time. And how we find the managers of the business domain, we're in that process now, because you need to have some special skills to do that, and you need to have the business and product, at least, competence. So we're building up now. We have started with the One Health, and then we move forward from that. Okay.
Hi.
Hello.
Oh, hi. I'm also working for a governmental organization, and we are on our way, like trying to do this, thinking agile, thinking DevOps, and I find that it's really hard to work with the culture, and I'm just asking, like, what did you do? Because I mean, I am an agile coach, and I feel like sometimes when I go out and talk about the agile and principles and things like that, like the teams, they think it's just buzzwords. And the managers, they are just, I don't know, afraid of losing control. Yeah. So I kind of, what did you do to make people believe you?
I have one answer for you, and that is our superhero CIO, because he came in with no respect for being in a bureaucratic organization. He came from Cisco, he came from Tandberg, he was used to work in another way, and he hadn't got the culture legacy that the rest of the organization had, and he came in and said, oh no, we're not going to do it this way. And it has spread across, first within the IT department and then actually in the rest of the Directorate. So he just set the standard for the rest of us. He changed his management teams, hired new people with the same interest and with who got the competence on this and on. So I think you need to have it from the top on, actually.
So it's so important. Transformational leadership is key. And it should start from the top, actually. And the fantastic thing now, he has sold his vision. Everybody is now following him. Everybody. That's why this will be successful.
Okay. It's a great story, so thanks for sharing that. My question was a technical one about the data streams that cut across everywhere with your microservices. Obviously, a lot of people trying to go that way with the architecture. But what common data standards did you adopt, if any, to make sure that you got the interoperability and everything could continue to talk to one another?
I am not able to answer that question.
That's a
but
shame.
I can help you. I can put you in contact with somebody that can. So
Okay,
I'll give
thanks.
you a name. Sorry. Or are you able? No.
But it's work in progress as we speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Hi there. Can you hear me okay? I think you said earlier on your company is a procurement expert.
We were.
So I'm wondering, I'm an agile guy. I'm wondering how did you transition from, or how do you make procurement more agile? Or is it just a case of having more in-house development? Or were there some things you did with procurement to make it, to transform it?
It's both. We have a sourcing model that said we were in this procurement operation, so either we go SaaS solution, buy software, or we build ourselves in-house. So we have taken area for area and then insourced, hired our own developers, taken over, finishing our contracts, and then sent the consultants out the door. So it's been area for area. We have done this transition. And in some area, we have bought software.
How do you do your business domain roll-up reporting? Are you using Portfolio Jira?
That is the questions we will ask ourselves when we come home from Barcelona. Because they are also being set up now. So that's one of the really interesting things that we will discuss when you come back. So far, we have disregarded Portfolio for Jira. We don't know what's new in the next version. But
there is a demo.
Yes.
Portfolio for Jira 3.0.
Yeah.
I was the first marketing person on Portfolio for Jira, so it's close to my heart.
A very important principle is for us to do things as simple as possible. To be shapeshifters and to adapt quickly.
Yeah, but on the other hand, there is also a need in this government organization we live in to have some data and reports on our progress. So, yeah, it's a dualism here, both the need for reporting and that we don't want so much of it in an agile